Hello, I'm Wynn, an author, a community leader, and as a construction contractor, I have been a mentor, a role model for our youth and our community for many years. Now, as I see it, there's four problems that facing our young people today. Number one, the environments. There are so many challenges for young peoples the minute they step out the door. Just imagine the young kids between the age of 8 to say 15 going to school every day, seeing the wine heads on the corner, the dope dealers, the dope users, the prostitutes, and all the other things that go along with these peoples hanging on the corner. Some urinating, some just don't care what they say as the young kids go to school. What do you think this do to the young people that go into school? Number two, respect level. The young peoples of the day have lost their respect for the older generation. Why did this happen? How could it happen? What caused it to happen? This is the question that we want to know today. Who do you think that little 11-year-old girl or boy was looking at on their way to school if it was not the older generation? The older generation has not yet completed its mission. We owe a debt of respect to our youth. I feel that they should have our respect because we have not taught them how to respect us or themselves. Number three, religion. Taking prayer out of school has been a big mistake because when we stop teaching about God, we stop teaching morality to our young people. As the Bible says, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. And when the government take the prayers out of schools and stop the parents from chastising the younger peoples in their homes, then it's critical. Why do you think a boy can go and just cut off a girl's head or another man's head or shoot him at point blank and don't even worry about it? Go and eat somewhere. Why is it a year ago you heard about this guy almost just killing his whole family and don't have no remorse or nothing? It's because you just not doing the right thing about morality. Number four, authority. Parents have lost the right to chastise their children to a politically corrected court system. TV and video have become the new babysitter. Today, there's no correction in the home. Well, that's it for me. That's how I see things. So why don't you join me on my Facebook and help me solve this problem? All thing y'all do is click the link.
Robert Paris. I don't know if you remember him or not, Mr. Glover. I met him about 3 years ago when Carter died, Morgan Carter. Do you remember him? Okay. I met with Robert about 3 years ago, and last night I met him at the case. And we were glad to see each other. We hadn't seen each other for a long time. He told me he had been following me on Facebook and had been following my little radio stations, shows rather. And you know that I got his book before. And then I gave him my book 3 years ago. And when I gave it to him, he read it overnight and he called me 3 days, day after day for 3 days and tell me how he enjoyed the book. And he was telling me he wanted to do something with the book, like cut it in pieces or whatever he was saying, and he wanted to film it. But at the time, I was writing the second book, and I didn't understand that cutting and piecing the book, so I said no. So after I'm doing those little bits on the radio station, I saw him last night at the taste. And he said, I've been thinking about you and I've been following you on your radio. He said, there's so many things I have learned from that second book. I know you was coming from the second book because some of the things you said is not in the first, but all of it is good. He said, what I would like to do with your permission is do that first chapter of yours in Pimpin' a Hustler. He said, you got an amazing story. And he said, I want to film it. Just that part so we can introduce it to some movie producer. He said, because people should know your book and should know you, get to know you. He said, if that third book is anything like the first and the second book, he said, it needs to be on film. Well, he's not the only one told me that. He made me feel real good. I had labor a hard time on this book, and I tried to write the book for my grandkids, grandchildren, daughters, and son. I have 13 daughters, 1 son, and about 6 grandsons. So I didn't want them to take the same road that I taken when I was young, running the street, thinking they're a gambler, thinking they're a pimp, and all that. Is just a waste of time. And I'm glad that I learned that it was a waste of time about 4 or 5 years in the game. Then I met an old man, which I done told this story 1,000 times, that put his arms around me. And as I say, I'm glad that I had an ear and listened. And today, I am a bona fide, been out here 45-year contractor. And I appreciate it. I learned a lot of things doing it. I met a lot of people. And I can't thank the old man enough today for pulling my coat to contracting. And that's another thing that Robert gave me a compliment about, is my ability to contract. And he followed me through my radio stations and through that book, noticing that I have had 21 buildings, which I have said it on my radio station. And he told me, he said, I followed you, was in Who is Who book in 2008 to 2009. I said, yes. He said, you got 2 or 3 awards. I said, yes. And he said, people just have praised you. He said, but what I did notice, you talking to these young kids, you've been doing this for 40 years, training them, and you never did apply for a grant or anything from the government. And I said, no, I didn't. I said, it was just a thrill for me to